I'm scrolling on Reddit and I came across the Ken Carson subreddit. And they were talking, essentially saying that they believe that Ken Carson has in some way surpassed Playboi Carti with this sound and this style of music. Kind of like one of the moments like, oh, the pupil has now outshined the master. And honestly, just reading through it, I low-key think they're right. Now, I don't necessarily think that Playboi Carti needs any type of introduction. A prime member of the 2016 era, which was golden for rap. Y'all know who Playboi Carti is. Now, over the course of the years, he's kind of like developed his own style, his own aura with this whole vampire aesthetic, drawing inspiration from like early 2000s fashion with his own vamp aesthetic. Y'all know the vibes, right? Kind of also being the clear influencers or curators of the whole opium movement with Ken Carson or Destroy Lonely. So fast forward to now, Playboi Carti is notorious for teasing the album and damn near never releasing it to his fans. Miraculously, we're finally here and now we have the album. I was skeptical about doing this album review. It's gonna go two ways, right? If I come on here and I'm like, hey, the album's trash, the album's ass, then of course Playboi Carti fans gonna be like, oh bro, you just don't understand the music or, you know, whatever the fuck. But if also I come up here and I glaze the album, I feel as if like I'll be doing myself and this channel a disservice. Seeing as, from my perspective, over half of the Carti fan base also don't necessarily know how to feel about the album. And I think a big part of the problem is like, okay, Playboi Carti haven't dropped music for 4 years. Let's just be what it is. And granted, I'm fucking 24, right? That style of music is generally for a younger audience. If you're gonna wait fucking 4 years to drop the album, your fan base is gonna grow up a little bit. And it's gonna be harder for them to resonate with that album. Unless you're just curating new fans along the way. But that's a whole different conversation. But I listened to it. I have my opinion. And before I even got on this camera, I decided to go to the internet and see what people are saying. And as I said, it's been pretty 50. People calling this shit ass, trash, the worst piece of music in existence. And you have a mix of Playboi Carti fans saying, of course you're gonna have the fucking stands. That's expected, saying that this shit is fire, you know, whatever, greatest shit since sliced bread. But then you also have some Playboi Carti fans saying, either one, it's not good, or two, we just got to give it some time to cook and marinate, or, you know, whatever the case is. And I don't know if you remember, this was damn near the same conversations that we were having whenever A Whole Lotta Red dropped, which I have my own personal opinions on that album. I'm not going to do it right now. If y'all want me to do an album review on that one, I'll do it a little bit later and I'll give y'all my opinions. Now, to get into the album, the meat and potatoes, sporting a hefty 30 songs. It's not a horrible listen. It's not a too lengthy of a listen, but I think just the style of music of what it is and what is provided makes it a hard listen all the way through. Pop Out was a decent opening. It was an okay opening to Playboi Carti and, you know, trying to set up the vibe for the album. I didn't think it was the strongest opening, in my opinion. I think the stronger opening would have just been the next song, Crush, that had the choir in the back. I think that would have been a more cinematic way to open up the album and build whatever it is that he's trying to build. Which I also liked that song had some type of like progression. Moving on with a list of okay songs, we had K-pop, which at this point I kind of liked that you didn't really know which version of Carti's voice you were gonna get over the course of the album. He just keeps surprising us, so that was enjoyable. I do wish it was a bit longer with a little bit more progression, but you know what? Hey, I'll take what I can get. Evil Jordan, decent song. Mojo Jojo, decent song. And honestly, right? And this is just me being honest here. I am a huge Kendrick fan. But honestly, on this one, y'all, with all of the Kendrick features, I was not seeing the vision. Not necessarily saying Kendrick did a bad job per se. I don't think it was that he was a bad job. It just sounds out of place for Kendrick Lamar, right? It's kind of like going from someone that can deliver something that's iconic as like a Control or Backseat Freestyle, a Good Kid, Mad City, right? And dumbing himself down or diluting his style and his music and his ability down to Playboi Carti's level for whatever. Granted, I'm not mad at him, right? I'm pretty sure he just left his label TDE. He gave them his very last album. He's just having fun. He's having a good time, so I can't knock it. I'm just not, even as a Kanye, not a Kanye, even as a Kendrick Lamar fan, I'm not really seeing the vision, but that's a whole different story. Really like the song Philly. Radar was another song that I really, really enjoyed. I was really hoping I was gonna hear maybe like a Chief Keef feature in there somewhere. Didn't get it, but it's all right. Another decent song would be Rather Lie, Fine Shit, Backdoor, which Kendrick Lamar delivered just a little bit more than he did last time on the album, which was nice. Then we get over to Money On. And by this point in the album, I am exhausted. I don't even think at this point we need to even go over like individual songs anymore because they're pretty much copy and paste, cut and dry. You already know what you're expecting. You already know what you're getting, right? And then my main problem with the album is the lack of progression, the lack of the lack of cohesiveness. It has no direction, it has no progression. I don't even think Playboi Carti knows what he want to do. And what pissed me off about it is like now since we're in this streaming era, I feel as if 30 fucking songs, 30 songs in an album is only provided to see like, all right, let's see which ones are gonna stick on Billboard or whatever. Curate some money, curate some views, curate some eyes, whatever the case is. He's not necessarily trying to build an atmosphere, build a world, build anything. It's just a compilation of fucking songs that he's been working on that have no relation to each other whatsoever. And we're just sitting here listening to a playlist of random ass songs curated by Playboi Carti, which was the same issue that I had with Whole Lotta Red. Because I remember when he was teasing it, he was saying, oh, we're about to delve into this vampire, really dark aesthetic or, you know, whatever the case is. Now, imagine, right? You have a vampire or whatever the fuck it is as a theme for your album. And you didn't fully dive into that and deliver a world solely based on that. Kind of like Lil Uzi doing Heaven's Gate with cults or whatever as the driving factor, but I think on that album we only had like maybe one skit from a cult or whatever. Whenever you could have done so much, the opportunity to build a world out of those concepts are there, is just not being done. Now I'm scrolling on Reddit and I came across the Ken Carson subreddit, and they were talking essentially saying that they believe that Ken Carson has in some ways surpassed Playboi Carti with this sound and this style of music. Kind of like one of the moments like, oh, the pupil has now outshined the master, right? And honestly, just reading through it, yeah, a lot of Playboi Carti fans was like, you know, give it time, give it time, give it time. Sure. But I low-key think they're right. Even though Ken Carson's A Great Chaos was a similar vibe, a whole bunch of fucking songs, a lot of similar beats. It was a little bit more of an enjoyable time than this was by Playboi Carti. At this point, I'm thinking with Playboi Carti in his music, it's more of like the aura, the mysteriousness that's getting people to oh, what is he gonna do next? What is he gonna do next? And then he's doing, let's call it what it is, a fucking gimmick with his voice to get people all hyped about the new era of Playboi Carti, which honestly the music doesn't reflect that, which at least with A Great Chaos, it's just a bit more enjoyable, a bit more put together from a Ken Carson. Now to sum this up, am I saying that this album is completely dog shit? No. In some parts, the vocals were a little bit muddy, but overall, it's mixed nicely. Some of the features were enjoyable. There are some enjoyable moments on the album. But as a whole, half of the songs we gotta remember now, 30 fucking songs, half of the songs are throwaway songs. I think you would have to be a die-hard Playboi Carti fan to be like, you know what, I can listen to this album front to back with, if anything, good for you. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm proud of you. That's a fucking achievement because I'll get a fucking headache But I did personally add a few songs to my playlist that I might revisit. It's probably only, I think it was only like 4 songs or so. And then other songs on there was okay, but it had a whole bunch of songs. I'm just like, man, why the is this shit on the album? To sum this up, what would I rate this album out of 10? Honestly, how I'm feeling, Playboi Carti's I Am Music, I would give a 4 out of 10. Did you listen to it? Did you like it?